Welcome to another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Your host, Eddie Arnett, my man, G. Witt.
Tighten up, baby.
Man, tighten up. Welcome to another show. We jumped on last Thursday night at halftime of the Colts game, and the last we were on, the Titans were up 17-13, but it didn't end so well for the two-tone blue.
So well.
A lot of I'm gonna give everybody a chance to sit down and kind of buckle up so we can talk about this second half of the game as people are getting on the show, man. And I don't know. Well, let's start right here, Grover. So the Colts, they really dominated that second half of the game. If you really want to break it down, 17-13 lead at halftime for the Titans, and just never got nothing going in that second half.
Well, and I agree with you totally, but let's just be real about it when you go back and look at that game. From the Titans side of the ball, both offensively and defensively, what changed?
Nothing.
Exactly. I mean, they ran the same defensive scheme they were running in the first half. So, right. Needless to say, when Indy goes in at halftime and makes their adjustments, and they were already the thing about that game is what you got to remember. Even in the first half, they were killing us on first down.
Oh yeah, definitely the whole game.
They were averaging, 8 to 9 yards every first down.
Yep.
And that's what happens when you have your corners playing 10 to 12 yards off the line of scrimmage. The only one who was really up in press coverage was Malcolm Butler, but everybody else was playing off. You saw the tackling was off. Nobody was making the tackles like they were supposed to. So they ran. I mean, you think about it. I think in the first half they ran like 30-something plays to 40-something plays to our 20-something plays. They ran almost half as many plays more than what we ran in the first half.
Right.
And that when you see something like that, that's a problem. That should let you know your defense is really not doing it. They're just moving up and down the field. The ultimate insult, when you really get down to it, is that they went for it on fourth down 5 times.
Without even hesitating.
They didn't punt to the end of the game.
Right. Didn't even hesitate.
You stop to think about that.
Right.
Our third down percentage was good, but they were 60% on fourth down.
Right. I mean, it don't matter if you're going to get it on fourth down.
It don't matter if you give it up the fourth down if you stopping them on third. So you might as well not have even stopped them on third down. It was, but here's the thing. And a friend of mine who's an Indianapolis Colts fan, he posted this YouTube thing about the Titans have been exposed. Dude, we called this after the Denver game. I mean, come on. We said it after the Denver game. If they keep playing defense like this, what did we say? The good quarterbacks are going to eat this defense alive.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing. And and on the offensive side of the ball, we're running against the top-notch defenses. I mean, Indianapolis, number 1, number 2 defense in the league. Okay, so you move the ball well enough to keep them off balance and score points, but your defense is so wretched, for lack of a better term, they can't stop them on offense. So your offense doesn't even get a chance to operate. Think about it. From 5 minutes left to go in the first half to 9 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Your offense doesn't see the ball. You can't get a stop.
Right. They came out that second half and had the ball for 7.5 minutes.
That's what I'm saying.
Third quarter, yeah.
Third quarter. I mean, your defense is horrible. And that's really, we can talk about the special teams play. Yeah, they cost. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But the bottom line is your defense is really what's, and we said this after the Denver game. We said it after the game 1.
Said every week.
Is what's costing your team. You just were lucky enough you were playing against weaker opponents and your offense could pull it out. But your defense is costing you games.
What's funny is I was watching the Buffalo game, and I still, to this day, and even though they lost, they just wasn't clicking that night that they played us, because it's no way that we should have beat them. How the offense is scoring at so many points. And to hold them to 16 points, we just caught them at the right time, I'm going to say.
Exactly.
Because, like you said, the defense is just horrible. So one thing I noticed while we're talking about the defense, Grover, and you mentioned it already, you had Malcolm Butler pressing on one side, but you had the opposite side corner 10 to 15 yards back. And so I'm
Right.
like, what kind of defense is it that they're running? Because there's no defense in my mind to where you do your corners that way, to where you press one side and you don't press the other side. And so what was Phillip Rivers doing? He come up to the line, he checked the play, and he throw the slant or the in route on the side where the DB was off 15 yards, and you got 7, 8 yards, 9, 10 yards of pop every play.
Crossing patterns were killing them all night.
Yep.
They would drag right across the middle was killing them all night. And it wasn't, and matter of fact, you think about it. The running back they used that had such a big night on us, Hines, he's like what, the third string running back? And we could cover him anywhere.
Right.
I mean, nowhere. I mean, he just absolutely abusing linebackers and everything. I mean, they ended up playing him most of the game. And I couldn't blame him. I mean, he was hot. Why not?
Right. Yeah.
The defense. Let's just be honest about it. And when we get to talking about the midseason update or whatever, we'll get into it. But this defense has been wretched from game one.
So let's get some comments, Grover. We've got a bunch of them flying in, man. And thanks for giving them out to us, guys. Keep them coming. Dion says we got punked on national TV. He also says the bad QBs are eating this defense alive. Jabbar says the coaching has been exposed, and Vrabel's stubbornness to change what's hurting the team is going to be his downfall pretty much. And he's tired of hearing the company line, we have to get better in week 10, duh. So Ed McKinnon says he feels like the return of Adoree and Fulton will increase the comfort with King, and the defense scheme will improve the secondary. I can't disagree with that, Ed, because right now the defense is slow. Let's just put it out there. The defense is slow in the secondary. And so you miss Adoree, you miss Fulton, those guys that can run. Give credit to Malcolm Butler. He's playing some solid defense, but he doesn't have the speed to cover these upper echelon guys.
Well, here's my thing about it. Okay. You're slow. So your solution to being slow is having your corners play 10 to 12 yards off the line of scrimmage.
Right. Exactly.
So if you're slow to cover them off the line of scrimmage, you're going to be slow to make the tackle.
Right. At least put them up so they can interrupt the timing, right?
Because here's the thing about it: when you stop and think about that logic, they're backing up when the ball is snapped. They're backing automatically. Yeah. And some of them even turn and run the other way.
That's right.
So let's think about that. Kevin Byard generally turns and runs the other way. You stop and think about that. So your safeties are out of the picture automatically.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm not an expert. I say this every time. I yield to the coaches. But as a fan, something just doesn't look right.
So
I feel like Keith Sweat, something just ain't right.
Dion, he says, why doesn't Vrabel see this? Dion, here's the thing that I think it is. So Vrabel, he comes out of this, if you want to call it the coaching tree of Belichick, and so they do things a certain way. Vrabel has too much pride to accept the fact that his way is not working. His plan is not working. His not hiring a DC is not working. His free agency that they agreed to bring in these guys are not working. Heck, the draft picks are hardly even contributing because they can't stay healthy enough to be on the field. And so, all the way around, it's not working. And he's not admitting to his downfall of those shortcomings. And, because he's just being stubborn and he's got too much pride. Just take the fact that you didn't have a good offseason, you misfired on the free agencies all the way around. And then admit to that you need a defensive coordinator to call your defense because it ain't working what you're doing.
Well, I'm
You can't. Oh my Lord! First time on the show that Grover can't say nothing. He's speechless. Oh my gosh! Somebody write that down.
You got to stop and think. Sometimes, to quote Holler, "No, some things are just better left unsaid."
Yeah.
I'm going through this left and right, man. I'm going through this left and right. I'm speechless. I am. I've said this before.
Mm-hmm.
I can take losing, but what I can't take is bad defense.
I don't even know if you can call it bad. I can
see bad offense. I can see bad offense. Sometimes things don't work and all that, and you ain't got the right players or whatever. But bad defense really comes. It comes from two things: lack of coaching and lack of effort.
Yeah, I mean, and so
I mean, just let's look at it. Now, Vrabel will tell you point blank and period, there is nothing wrong with the scheme. The scheme is fine. Now I'm
that's that
telling
pride.
you,
That's that pride.
he said that in press conference.
That's that
No,
pride.
it's not the scheme.
That's that pride.
You know, and to be honest with you, if you go back and look at this past interview, Kenny Vaccaro backed him up.
Oh,
He said,
I heard.
We have to start doing what the coaches are telling us to do.
And, okay.
So now he says that.
Uh-huh.
So the question becomes, who's not doing what the coaches are telling them to do?
That's what I'm about to say. So if that's the case, pull their butts off the field because they don't need to be out there.
That's all I'm saying. Who's not doing what the coaches are telling them to do?
So you got people out there freelancing.
Here's the thing about it. The coaches know who's not doing it. The coaches know.
Oh yeah, they watch film. They gotta know.
They watch film. They know who's not doing what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes the question. And you got to have players, and I'm gonna call them out. Bayard, Vaccaro,
Rashad Evans,
Jayon Brown, even Jeffrey Simmons. You gotta, if there are players on the team who are not doing what the coaches are telling them to do, they're not doing the plays, they're not lining up the way and attacking the way the coaches are telling them to, then you as a team, as a defensive leader, need to step up in that locker room or in that film session and just flat out call them out and say, Coach, if they ain't gonna do it, don't put them on the field.
Right.
Bottom line, just be honest about it. And as a player on a team, you can speak up and make that statement. Coaches may not like it. They may disagree with you, but you can step up. You can go in the coach's office and say it. You ain't got to say it in a team meeting. You can go in the coach's office and say it.
Well, that's what I was saying a few weeks ago. Somebody needs to step up and say something. I mean, you can do it in front of the team. In my opinion, you do it in front of the team. You call them out because why sit on and sugarcoat? At this point, you've lost 3 out of 4 games, and you got 3 games coming up that you could potentially lose 2.
Well, let's put it like this. Right now, you're not in the playoffs. Right now, according to the AFC standings, you're not in the playoffs.
Yeah, I wouldn't even talk about playoffs. Yeah,
you lost to Indianapolis. So Indianapolis is now the division leader because we lost to them.
Right.
And the Raiders have a better division record than we do. And there it is. So if they lose to Baltimore and then lose to Indianapolis after that, then yeah, we're out of the playoffs. There's no way we're going to make it. We have to scrap. We're in the same position we were in last year. We have to scrap and fight and claw to get a wild card, and we're going to be on the road for the remainder of the playoffs.
You know, he got some more, man. Got some more coming in. So Carlton says he thinks the next 2 games will determine the season. I don't disagree at all. Carlton, the next 3, next 2 for sure. The third one might not even matter at that point. Ed McKinney said he's puzzled by the play of the middle linebackers and stopping the run game. You know, and we talked about this at halftime. How Rashad Evans left his responsibility, his gap, and filled Jayon Brown's gap, and the running back just runs right there where he vacated. And so there's another 10 yards. And so that's just very puzzling. Very puzzling.
Again, we've been saying that, you know, we can't figure out what's going on with the inside linebackers this year at all. I mean, it's not making any sense. You lost your inside linebacker coach. You replaced them with Haslam, and obviously, it's either the players or the coaches.
Something's amiss.
Something on this defense. Regardless of what anybody says, something on this defense is something or somebody, coach or player, that's holding this defense down and not allowing it to play the way it needs to play. Now, we said this in the summer, that when Vrabel did not hire a DC, we said this. The last time Vrabel was a DC, Houston was rated last in the NFL.
Right.
If they weren't rated 32nd, they were rated 31st.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people blame that on injuries, But here's the bottom line. A good DC knows how to overcome the injuries because you're in the NFL. Injuries are going to happen. Injuries going to happen. You're going to have players get hurt. Look at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Their starting middle linebacker is gone for the season. What do? They replace, they coach the guys up, and boom, the defense keeps rolling. So as a coach, you overcome injuries. So I don't want to hear that, well, he didn't have J.J. Watt. Well, he didn't have Witten Merciless. No, he had players behind him. So obviously, they did not have a scheme that was going to work to make them better than what they were.
Right. So Taylor says, very missing tackles, giving up passes, players make or do not make plays. Yeah, I agree with you, Taylor. I agree with you. But as a coach, go ahead.
Here's the thing about it, and we've always said this. You know, one of the things they always said about this team and the coaching staff was that they were going to put players in the best position according to their abilities. Are we seeing that on the field? That's all I'm asking.
We're not seeing it. We're not seeing them put in position to win. We're not seeing them put in position to make any kind of play because you're playing half your field press coverage and the other half of your field is backed off. And so that right there is telling me that there's something going on. Now, so let's look at it this way. So you have Arthur Smith calling the plays, right? He's solidified as the guy. The defense doesn't have that guy that you mentioned. And so I think there's too many voices. I really do. I think there's too many voices, and they're not on the same page on the scheme for whatever reason. And I think that's where you see the confusion. You know, the front is doing something different. The secondary is doing something different. You got people out of position. I mean, it's got to be something. It's got to be something.
We're saying it's the coaches.
Well, it's. I think everybody owns their part. So you got players, right? You got players.
I'm being sarcastic.
No, I know you are.
Being sarcastic.
I know that's why I kept talking because I knew that's what you was doing. But anyway, so you got guys, doing their own thing, clowning, jumping inside, losing contain. You got people taking bad angles. Got guys, like I said, backing already at 10 yards deep and going, backpedaling another 5-10 yards deep. And so, yeah, it's the coaching, but it's also the players. And somebody should step up and say, hey, this is not working. I don't care what you say. Yeah, Vaccaro came out and said they need to listen to what the coaches are saying. And if that's the case, like you said, if we got people that are not listening to what they're being told to do, they don't need to be on the football field. Play some of these young guys from the practice squad that's going to give you the 100% effort and going to do what you tell them to do.
It's something, man. I'm just saying, we're going on about the defense because we recognize the fact that the defense is the problem. Indianapolis had over 300 yards of offense on us, and we had Derrick Henry rush for 100, but we couldn't do anything. Here's when it got bad. Mm-hmm. You had Derrick Henry ran the ball and ran for 8 yards, and on second and third down, you couldn't pick up 2 yards. He had to go out the game. Because he strained his shoulder or whatever the case may be. I saw them working on him on the side of the game. Yep. He had to go out. So on second and third down, you couldn't get 2 yards. That's a problem.
That is a problem.
That's a problem. Now, granted, you're going against one of the best defenses in the league. I take nothing from it. But you can't get 2 yards with your offense, with your run, with supposedly your running game. That's really when the game turned. When you couldn't get those 2 yards and sustain a drive, you end up going 3 and out. That's when the shank punt happened. 17-yard punt.
Wow. So since you brought that up, man, why change a punter that was averaging over 50 yards a kick against the Bears? I mean, this guy comes in a FedEx truck in his uniform and tries out, and he's a starting punter for you in an AFC South game. That's a lot of riding on it. And that, to me,
who knows,
bad.
Man?
That's bad coaching. Who knows? You trying to be cute, thinking you know everything that's going on, and you just admit that you made a mistake and move on and correct that mistake. I mean, that's just awful.
Well,
that was awful.
Okay, all right. Look. Let's get beyond this game. Let's get on to the midseason because we'll spend an hour and a half just going back and forth about what went wrong in this game, man. I'm telling you. And I've gone back and forth for a while, man. I've gone back and forth with people, man, and it's just it's an argument in futility.
So one more, I'm gonna say this last thing, and then we'll move on to the next topic. And so, and I agree with Dion because it's the scheme, because you're not blitzing anybody, you're rushing 4 guys, sometimes 3, and I mean it looks the same week after week after week. And so I don't care what Vrabel says, I don't care what Vaccaro says. They try to keep everything in house, I'm sure, and not stir up a storm of crap. It's the scheme. It's the scheme. Let's get to the bottom. It's the scheme. You're not running a good scheme. You're not being aggressive on defense. Hey, the Cardinals tonight running, putting everybody on line of scrimmage, and they got Jonathan Joseph out there playing coverage, and they blitzing folks and dropping folks in the coverage, disguising coverages against Josh Allen. And we don't do that. We just rush 4 guys, no matter what. Anyway, all right. So as we move on. Thank y'all for joining Halftime Adjustments. Eddie out there, my man G Witt. Keep the comments coming and questions. So
Tighten up.
So at the midpoint of the season, for the Titans and for the whole NFL in general, let's look at some grades. So we want to talk about some grades for the each break component of the football team. Let's start with the draft picks, Grover. And so as I look at the draft picks, the only of course injuries are really hurting Darrington Evans. We want to see a lot out of him. He's got a bad hamstring, which can linger for the entire season. You got Isaiah Wilson that can't get on the field, can't get healthy, can't do anything right now, and for whatever reason, he is what he is at this point, looking like a bust. And you, the only ones that are really contributing right now are Chris Jackson and Murchison. And so, I mean, how do you rate this draft, Grover? To me, I give it a C right now because Fulton is hurt. He showed some promise when he was on the field. Still got a lot of work to do. First year guy playing DB out there on the edge by himself in some cases. But right now, I look at it as a C.
I think a C is a fair grade because again, on a couple of guys, you had some unmitigating circumstances. I mean, injuries. Darrington Evans been hurt since training camp.
Right.
With the little training camp that you had. Christian Fulton played some games, but he got hurt, so he's been out. Murchison has flashed on occasion, but not good enough. Chris Jackson has really struggled. Let's just be real about it. He struggled, and even Fulton is playing out of position. They got him playing in the slot when really he should be playing outside. That's one thing I didn't figure out why they had Jonathan Joseph outside and Christian Fulton in the slot. Didn't make sense to me.
Scheme. Coaches.
But Isaiah Wilson is the biggest disappointment, and not because of his lack of playing time.
Right.
It's because of all the off the field stuff that's been going on.
Off the field.
And don't get me wrong, I'm sympathetic to a guy who may be going through depression or whatever the case may be. But and those things hide. Let me put it like this: those things can hide.
Right.
So I have a hard time blaming J-Rob on that one, but I will say this. This is without a doubt the worst draft he's had since he's been here.
I can't disagree.
I have to just say it's the worst draft he's had since he's been here. And that's not a knock on him. You're gonna have those. You're gonna have those all the way around.
Yeah, you have some swing and some misses. I mean, you can't get an A+ every draft, right?
Yeah, you're gonna and remember when the draft happened, most people were giving us B+ or A- as far as grades were concerned. So, but you've had some bad things happen.
Yeah,
so,
you've had a lot of things happen.
So so I think a C is fair.
What about free agency, Gro? I'll let you go first.
That's an F.
I can't disagree at all. F+.
Let's just be honest about it. 2 of the free agents you signed, you cut.
Right.
Already, you let them go.
Yep.
The free agent kicker you signed is killing you on special teams.
You're right.
And maybe it's just me. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't understand why you're still lining him up to do kicks on the right hash when he definitely kicks better from the left.
But he missed that field goal from the right hash.
Right hash.
That's right. He missed it from the right hash. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. When he lined up on the right hash and it was under 50 yards, the first thing I said was, before he even kicked, I said, he's getting ready to miss this one. because he always missed from the right hash under 50 yards. On the left hash, he makes those. Okay, so I'm just saying. So yeah, the free agency of this season, there's no way around it. It's an F. And I think even John Robinson, because let's be honest about it,
Mm-hmm.
even like I said, you're keeping Gostkowski, and people can say they can try to support Clowney all they want to. He is not giving you what you expected out of him as a free agent grab.
No.
And for the $12 million you're paying him, no, he's not giving
way
you
too much. Right.
He's not giving you what you need. Let's just be honest about it.
No,
he's making. Like I tell everybody, he's splashing. He's making. He's doing some things good, but overall, for $12 million, no, he's not giving you what you need. He didn't put this. He definitely didn't make your defense better.
Right, and you know, there's only 2 plays that he made in that game. One on the 4th down, when he disrupted the play, but he didn't make the tackle. You got to give him credit for it. He made the tackle in the backfield. That was it. Nothing else. That was it.
Well, again, I'm not going to say that because I get chastised for dogging him out and everything. But the bottom line is he didn't make your defense better. Let's just be real about it.
That
for $12 million, he didn't make your defense better.
That coupled with the scheme, it's a whole big mess. And so
I'm just saying,
the only one that
he didn't make your defense better. $12 million, somebody should be making your defense better. Yeah, and he ain't made it better.
The only one that I like even the least is Borders, Breon Borders. He's playing some pretty good football. You know, you got to give him credit. He's been mixing it up good, and I think he's going to be a good find if he stays on this football team. So
well, he's got the highest grade. He had the highest grade in the game.
He should
Thursday night.
He should.
Yeah,
he should. He definitely should.
The bottom line is, free agency. No, that's been a total flop. Flop. All right, next up.
So I'm gonna say the defense to last. What about the offense? 12th overall, 6th rush, and 10th scoring.
Okay.
A lot of things are happening right now with the offense. Of course, the offensive line they can't stay healthy, right? So that's a big thing. They've proved that they can score on anybody, which we've seen that time and time again. Can average 30 points a game. Seen that time and time again. But my opinion, can get too cute at times. Get away from what brought you to the AFC Championship game, is that Derrick Henry and not running him enough, in my opinion, and getting too cute trying to run these little gadget plays every once in a while. Stick to what got you, man, your bread and butter, which is your running game, you know, and then come back with your play action. But I give him a B at this point of the season.
Okay, I'm a little bit better. I give him a B plus.
Okay,
I give him a B plus. I give Arthur Smith a B plus because I think as an OC, yeah, you're right. He does get too cute, a little cute sometimes. But overall, you got an offense that's averaging 20 plus points a game. And generally, if you have a decent defense, that's enough to win you some games. Matter of fact, let's just be real about it. Through the first half of the season, the offense is who carried the team.
Yeah,
let's be real about it.
Yeah.
So I give the offense a B plus. Like you said, the Taylor Lewan going down, I'm amazed at how bad it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And
big time.
But the other thing about it that makes it even worse is that now you're starting to see the lack of depth in the O-line.
Yeah.
Bottom line is this: really, if they're going to do anything right now on that offensive line, I would if Roger Saffold can't go at left guard. Really, what they need to do, they need to put Jamil Douglas in at center and move Ben Jones to left guard. Because Jamil Douglas, in all honesty, he's not good at guard.
No, he's not.
He's not that great at run blocking, and he's horrible at pass protection.
Yeah.
At least with Ben Jones, you may have somebody, and I'm just saying that this is worth a try. You may have somebody that can play and actually give you the pass protection that you need. Because Jamil Douglas, he just gets overpowered. And everybody knows it. Oh, everybody knows it. The defense knows it. When they see 75 go over there, they know if it's a pass play, bull rush him, he can't stop. That's the bad thing about the offensive line. We got to get more consistency from the wide receivers.
Yeah, a lot of drops by AJ
A
Brown
lot
this
of
last
drops
game.
all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not understanding why.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Corey Davis had that game against Chicago, and he dropped every pass that was thrown to him. And mind you, he'd been catching everything before that.
Right.
AJ Brown drops a sure touchdown, if not just a sure big play. If not a touchdown, it's a sure big play against the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same type of ball he caught against Chicago.
Right.
So there's a lot of lack of concentration on these receivers. Tight ends against these good defenses are not getting loose.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just be real about it. They're not getting loose. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that the offensive line can't hold up. Derrick Henry's running the ball well. The other running backs are running well. So as far as running the ball, I have to give ourselves an A because I can't go beyond that. But you can see where the run blocking is really, everybody knows how to tackle Derrick Henry now, and everybody knows you got to get him before he gets started. So he's gonna abuse those who can't play the rush very well, like the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
But against teams that play the rush well, like the Colts, he's got to fight and scrap and go for the yard, and he does a good job at that. Let me just say that he does a good job at that. But the offensive line is going to hurt him if they don't improve from what they did Thursday night.
I actually thought they run block good against the Colts. You know, I just don't think they ran him enough. I just don't think they ran him enough at all.
I don't disagree with you on that. We've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, he's the type of guy you got to feed him. But to his defense, to their defense, after all the special team gaffes against the Colts, that took him out the game because you weren't going to be running the ball anymore.
Yeah, and I agree, and I'm agreeing with some of the comments saying that Derrick Henry needs to stay in the game more, even on third down. I don't know why they take him out. They need to give him more touches. And I do like the fact that Arthur Smith did spread out the offense more against the Colts and got better running lanes. But I will say this, which we hadn't brought out yet, and I want to bring this up. Tannehill's been struggling these last couple of weeks, whether it's the pass protection or what, but his balls have been off. He's overthrown, he's underthrown, and I don't know if he's hurt. He took some big shots in the game Thursday night, and he took some big shots against the Bears. I don't know if he's hurt or what the case is, but he's been off too as well. And
again, now don't get me wrong. Like I said, I think Tannehill has been great, but let's be real about it. We talked about this last year, and we talked about this at the beginning of this year. Tannehill is a good quarterback. He's not one of the elites, and right now he's struggling with a lot of his throws because a lot of his throws are behind the receivers. He's throwing the ball a little bit late. Now he could be hurt because, like you said, against Chicago and especially against the Colts, he's taking some big shots. I would say this: the best thing that happened for Tannehill, in all honesty, was when they took him out of the game towards the end of the fourth quarter, and the fact that he didn't have to do any kind of practicing or anything going into this weekend. He doesn't have to really be at the facility to practice. He got to go in for treatment because he just beat up right now.
Yeah.
And again, we knew it was going to happen, man. You knew this was going to happen.
Eventually.
When your defense can't do it, when your defense stinks like ours does, eventually your offense is going to start cracking. And that's what we're seeing. We're starting to see the chinks in the armor for the offense, and the defense can't back them up.
Great point, Ed McKinney. He asked, where's Khalif Raymond? Khalif Raymond is not even getting on the field on offense. And I don't know if they've lost confidence in him because he had a few drops early on in the season or what the case is. But
let's be honest about it, man. He's not breaking loose. His route running, he's not getting away from anybody. I don't know if they run him as a decoy or whatever. He's definitely not getting any deep balls thrown his way.
None.
So that in itself is a problem. And that's another problem we're running into. There's again, I think what we're seeing with this team, in all honesty, with our team, is the fact that the problems that they're having on defense is beginning to affect the offense. The offense was being immune to it, but after this, I would say this: starting with the game against Cincinnati, they have been struggling since that game. And that's going to be a problem there, and that's something they got to get fixed. They can't get in the rhythm, they can't get in the flow, and like I said, the problem you got right now is that they're going against some good defenses, and you got you got our defense can't give them the opportunity to get out on the field and do the work to get on the flow, to get warmed up. They keep starting and stopping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, they're going to have a 3 and out. All offenses have a 3 and out every now and then. But you want your defense to go back out there, stop the other team's offense, and get the ball back so you can get back on the field. The problem we have is that our defense can't stop the other team's offense.
No.
So our offense can't get back on the field to try to get into a rhythm. And
Exactly.
another thing I would say, I will fault Arthur Smith on this. I don't think they go hurry up enough.
They haven't been the last couple games.
Yeah, I don't think they go hurry up enough. Mm-hmm. Hurry up offense helps to get you into a rhythm. Yep. And I don't think they've used that enough for what they're with them struggling like they are. And I don't think they use it enough to try to wear down other teams' defenses. I think he did it a little bit Thursday night, but he went quick, but he didn't really go hurry up. Mm-hmm. And I think with him, with this offense, in order to help their defense out, they're gonna have to do a little bit more hurry up to try to just sustain some drives to keep that defense off the field, because the defense can't stop nobody, and they're playing way too many plays.
Right, and so and by them going hurry up, you get the defense tired and worn out, then you smash it with Derrick Henry. So you got you got the game, you controlling the game, controlling the pace of the game, and keeping the defense off the field. And I will, Taylor, I think the offensive line is making Tannehill a little bit shaky in the pocket because they're getting so much pressure up in the front in his face. Yeah. And so like I said, we know he's throwing the ball a little bit off, but it's also the offensive line. It starts up front. Everything starts up front on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely.
And when your offensive line is struggling the way the Titans are, it's going to make for a long day for your offense. And so why not, to your point, why not, change the game plan up and go some up tempo, tire those defensive linemen out, get your offense going in a rhythm, get everything flowing, and help your guys win the game, put your guys in position to win the game. So.
And go up tempo with Derrick Henry in the game.
Right. With Derrick Henry in the game.
Go up tempo with Derrick Henry in the game.
Yeah.
Because that opens your playbook up more so than the other two guys. Because bottom line is, and we said it last year, they don't fear, no defense fears the other two guys. But they absolutely fear Derrick Henry.
Yep, definitely.
Now, bottom line is, and they'll say they don't, and I understand that, but he's the one player they know on our offense they have to be cognizant about every time he's in the game. And when you're not using him, you're hurting your offense.
Right, and then when they get focused on that, that's when you go to Corey Davis, you go to AJ Brown, because you got guys.
You go to Khalif
Raymond. Khalif Raymond. You got guys that can stretch the field, can get open.
Hopefully we get Adam Humphries back against Baltimore.
Yeah, this mini bye week, hopefully it'll get some folks back. We don't even have to talk about defense. That's an F++. Just because.
No. No.
F++.
I cannot give them an out.
We started the show talking about the defense. What is it? What more is there to say?
The bottom line is, and I agree with you. I would say this. I'm gonna give Shane Bowen an incomplete. And I say that because I don't know if he's actually getting the call plays or if Vrabel's overruled him, or he's running Vrabel's scheme and he don't have any really. Vrabel will say he has say so, but I don't know if he does. Vrabel gets an F, but we knew that because we knew that we put like this. We saw 2 years ago when Dean Pease had the health issue against Indianapolis, and Vrabel took over calling the defense, and the defense got trashed.
Yep.
So Vrabel and I don't know. I don't know if his pride is in it. I don't know what it is, but Vrabel has to just admit to the fact that, in all honesty, he's a defensive guy, but he's not a defensive coordinator. He's a defensive guy, but he's not a defensive coordinator. And just accept that fact. You're not a DC. You're not a DC. You don't know enough to make adjustments. When your defense is getting trashed in the first half, you're going at halftime with a 4-point lead, and you come out and you run the same defensive scheme in the second half.
Same stuff.
That means you don't know. You're not either. I will put it like this. It comes down to two things. Either you don't know how to make adjustments, or you're too stubborn to make adjustments.
I think it's to me. I think it's he don't know how to make adjustments. I just don't. So think about it. So last year we had at least two or three different game plans for the defense coming out the second half. There was always a different game plan that was showed by the defense. This year, like you mentioned, it's the same thing. Every game, no different. We're gonna play soft
you know who
coverage.
else used to do that?
Yeah, yeah.
The Printer.
Jeff Fisher. That's exactly
The
right.
Printer used
We're
to
gonna
do
play
that.
soft defense and hope not to get beat deep, and
Yep.
we're gonna just hope to stay in the game. That's the
Yep.
base. That's basically what you're seeing
And
out there by the defense.
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm going by. Unfortunately, for me, I'm just gonna say I've seen this before, and that's the reason I'm so upset about it, because as much as we complained about some of the things that Dean Pease did last year, and I always said he knows more about football than I do, so he knew what he was doing. This year, I got a question if they know what they're doing.
Right. And so Will asked about what we think what the record's going to be given what's going on. I'm gonna say another 9-7, 8-8 season. Looking at it right now, and it could be worse if they don't get the defense. If they don't turn around the defense in these next few weeks. So you look at what they got coming up. They got the Ravens coming up of Sunday. You got the Colts again, and then you got the Browns.
Okay, so right now we're what? We're 6-3.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Ravens. What do you think?
Well, it depends on the defense. No. So hold on. Time out.
What do you think?
Time out. So if they swallow their pride and get the defense together, I think we'll beat the Ravens.
Okay,
I really do.
Let me just put it like this. Okay, forget this. The team as it stands right now.
Oh, they're gonna lose. They'll get boat raced.
Okay.
Next week after that, that's a loss.
So that makes them 6-4.
The Colts, a loss.
Okay, 6-5. The Browns,
a loss.
That's 6-6.
Mm-hmm.
The Jaguars.
Cause man, that could be a loss too, depending on look how they play when they play us here.
Okay, so since you hesitate, we'll give them a win. So now they're 7-6.
7-6.
The Lions.
A win.
Okay, now they're 8-6. The Packers.
A loss.
So they're 8-7.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans.
A win. So like I said, 9-7, 8-8. I agree with whoever put that in. I think it was Ed McKinney. I agree with that. 9-7.
9-7, and here's the thing you got to remember: 9-7 won't make the playoffs this year.
No, it's not gonna make the playoffs this year.
It's not gonna make the playoffs this year.
Because you know why? Because you got Buffalo winning that division. You got the Dolphins at 6-3 now. You got the Raiders at 6-3. You got the Browns at 6-3 with the Ravens possibly going 6-3 or 7-2, and Pittsburgh at 9-0. So no, there's no playoffs. There's no playoffs.
There's no playoffs.
That's exactly right.
So there that is, because and you didn't even mention about Kansas City winning the West. So
yeah, I mean that's
no
a given, right?
So the bottom line is, and like I said, I'm just being real about it. I mean, right now, if everything remains status quo, the best we can hope for is 9-7.
Status quo.
For the 5th year in a row.
5th year in a row. No playoffs this time though.
But my whole thing is thinking, and I don't know if that's going to happen.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if that's going to happen
unless they can circle the wagons on defense.
And the reason being is because of what we said earlier. They're not putting guys in positions to make plays to take advantage of their abilities. They're not. They're simply not, and that's a problem. Like I said, I the free agents signings have not worked. I don't care what anybody say, they have not worked. With a free agent signing, you expect them to help make your team better. That ain't happened this year. Let's be honest. Put it like this: we signed Kenny Vaccaro 2 years ago. Or was it a year ago? 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
He made our defense better, didn't
he? He did.
Okay. The free agents we signed this year on defense, did they make our defense better?
Not a one.
Not a one. Two of them are gone.
Two of them are gone.
One of them is still here, and you're paying him $12 million, and he hasn't done anything to make your defense better. I say that because you played a game without him, and your defense played better without him than it did with him.
So,
I'm just saying.
So if we go back to some of the plays that he wasn't in the game against the Colts, it was still bad defense.
Oh yeah,
I agree. Still bad defense.
I agree.
Jabbar says 10 wins. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Jabbar said 10 wins might get you in, but that's a stretch. He don't see him winning 4 out of 7. Taylor says, fellas, Hebrews 11-1. Ed McKinnon says,
he said Hebrews 11:1. Tell him to check out Jeremiah 15:5.
Ed McKinnon says it's too much talent on this team not to take advantage. I totally agree. That's what I'm saying. If they circle the wagon on defense, if they get the scheme working better, then they can beat the Ravens. They can beat the Colts. There's too much talent on both sides of the football for the football team to be this bad. I mean, that's what we're saying.
And that's our frustration.
Mm-hmm.
That's our frustration. We know the talent is there.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, you're going to hear Vrabel say, we got to coach better. We got to coach better. We got to play better. Yeah, that's the standard line.
What's the grade for the coaches since you brought them up?
And that goes without saying.
Mm-hmm.
But they've already made they made 2 major changes on defense when they got rid of Vic Beasley and Jonathan Joseph.
So what's the next change?
So what's the next change?
It's gotta be something.
if it's not the players, if it's not the one free agent you still have left, then what is it?
Wade Phillips, somebody brought it up. Bring him in.
Hey, because Wade Phillips said he can still help somebody. That's what Wade Phillips
said. He can. Bring him in. Why not? What's the worst thing that can happen? That your defense I don't know if your defense can get any worse.
Whoa. Never.
I would say it.
Make that statement.
I'm going to say it.
Never make that statement.
Dude.
Because, Eddie, I'm going to tell you, it can get worse. I'm just letting you know, it can get worse. So never say it can't get any worse. Yes, it can. It can get worse. So don't ever say that.
No, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it, man.
No, you can't say that, man, because it can get worse.
Yes, I can.
I'm telling you.
I can.
I'm telling you, it can get worse. And unfortunately, you might see it with the stretch of games we got coming up to end the season.
I'm being optimistic. They gonna do better.
I'm just telling you.
Coaches. So what about the coaches?
With this, okay. You want to go with coaches? You want to go overall?
That's the last.
You want to go overall, or you want to go? You want to go on each side of the ball? Because I done gave Arthur Smith an A+
overall.
So I mean
overall,
a B+.
Coach.
Okay. We didn't cover special teams.
I mean,
special
it's
teams.
bad. It's bad.
Special teams. I would do this
mm-hmm.
only because outside of the last game against the Colts,
mm-hmm.
punting has been great.
Oh yeah, Kern is the best player. He's the Pro Bowler, perennial Pro Bowler every year. So we got that locked up. But field goal kicking has been horrendous again. Long snapping until we got a new snapper.
Long snapping has been bad. Punt coverage has been horrendous.
And now blocking on punts.
And
so now you see it trickling over that.
So as far as special team go, right now, Craig Ackerman gets a D. And the special teams gets a D. On the defensive side of the ball, defense gets an F. The coaches get an F. And I'm going to put Vrabel in that right now. I will say this because he's principal in the defense. He gets an F. I think he's a good head coach. I think he's a good head coach as far as game management is concerned, time management, all that stuff you need to make. I think that's his forte. I think he's great at that.
Mm-hmm.
What he's not good at is coaching a defense. He's good at teaching fundamentals. He's good at that. I give him that.
Yeah.
But right now, his defense is flunking fundamentals.
All over the field.
All over the field. His defense is flunking fundamentals. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Vrabel gets in there. Offensively, I give them a B+. And I give him a B+, and I even give the O-line coach a pass because he's had some injuries he's having to deal with. His whole left side of the ball has been decimated.
Yeah,
and
you got to give him that.
Your backups are not good enough. And obviously that comes down to coaching too.
Right.
So overall, I give the offensive side of the ball, coaching wise, I give them a B. I give Arthur Smith a B+. Defensive side of the ball, everybody gets an F. And that goes from Vrabel on down on the defensive side of the ball. And defensive line gets an F. Linebacker definitely gets an F, and the secondary gets an F. So defensively, yeah, they get an F all the way around. There's no way around it. Special teams right now, you get a D, and Craig Ackerman gets a D. The only reason why they don't get an F is because punting has been pretty good, except for this last game.
I give him an F for that last game for bringing in.
And well, you can give him an F for the last game. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But overall, you got to give him. But right now, and this is what I said when my friend who's a Colts fan put out that YouTube video about the guy saying we've been exposed. The exposition happened. The exposure happened against Denver.
It was week 1.
Saw it then.
Week 1.
Week 1. You saw it then. You bottom line, you saw it. Let's just be honest about it. The players you let go, you have not replaced them to the benefit of your defense. You didn't replace Casey to the benefit of your defense. You didn't replace Wesley Williams to the benefit of your defense, and you didn't replace Logan Ryan to the benefit of your defense.
They tried to replace him, but it didn't work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You didn't replace him to the benefit of your defense. Let's just be real about it. You've gone, okay, let's put it like this. We let go a defensive lineman, a linebacker, and a DB. The DB we signed to replace the DB that left, where is he? He's playing for Arizona. The linebacker we signed to replace the linebacker, where is he playing? Nowhere. The defensive lineman we signed to replace the defensive lineman, what has he done?
He's hurt. Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you.
So bottom line is defensive side of the ball gets an F. And right now, the way we're going, special teams and defense are dragging down the offense. This team would not make the playoffs this year.
Taylor, I think there is something going on in the locker room that we can't account for. It's just not coming out, of course. There's got to be something going on. It's got to be something that's not in agreement for it to be going on. Here we are in week 10 and still talking about how porous this defense is. You don't have the leadership. You don't have the accountability in the locker room. And, it's just getting bad. It's just getting worse. And so let's move on past that, because we got the Ravens coming in Sunday. They're playing the Patriots right now and up 7-0. And so you got Lamar Jackson. You got the defense that loves to bring pressure. And you got a run game that's, top of the league, defense that's top 10, right, number 8 overall. And, it doesn't get any better. You got to go on the road, and you got a banged-up offensive line. You got a defense that gives up 30-some points a game, or close to 400 yards a game, with only like 7 sacks for the season. You got Lamar Jackson, and they're going to be looking for some revenge after we beat them in the playoffs last year and knocked them out of what they thought was going to be a Super Bowl run for them. And it's going to be a tough football game. And the only way that I see it could go down is they're going to have to run Derrick Henry. They're going to have to establish the running game early. They're going to have to limit the pressure on Tannehill if they can, get the ball out of his hands quick. Bring something different to the table, change the game plan up a little bit, spread the defense out, and quit running those tight formations, and don't run the toss play, because the Ravens have too much speed on the outside for things like that to work. And on defense, you just got to get up and play some man coverage, man. You got to get up, bump and run. And I don't care if there's if Hollywood Brown is lining up on Malcolm Butler. You got to get in his face and at least throw off the timing of the offense or the rhythm of the routes and give your defense a chance to be competitive and not be so soft on the field every game. And Grover don't have anything else to say, so that's good. I guess.
What do you want me to say?
What do you think's the keys to the game? That's what you should be saying, and not just sitting there looking.
Okay,
guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments.
You want to hear keys to the game? In all honesty,
I do. That's what I asked you.
Okay. Bottom line is, you gotta flip this defense around. This defense got to do a complete 180. Mm-hmm. Offensively, you got to run the ball. You got to run the ball. Now, mind you, we ran all over them in the playoffs. So the one thing they're definitely going to do is line up to stop us from running. So you're going to have to be ready with the play action pass to loosen up that defense in order to make some plays. You got right now, to be truthful, let's be honest about it. Right now, the offense is still the same as it was last year. Their offense is still predicated on Lamar Jackson and the running game and throwing the tight ends. Mm-hmm. Those are his main targets. He can hit Hollywood Brown, but those are his main targets. So you got to be sure to shut that down. You got to make sure you run your defense to where when Lamar Jackson takes off, you're pushing them towards the sideline and you're cutting them off. You got to do that because he's going to do some things different. They're not going to play you the same way they played you in the playoffs. So when he had 500 yards of offense on his own. So that's not going to happen. So the bottom line is defensively, you got to do a complete 180 from where you've been playing these past 10 weeks. And offensively, you're going to have to be able to run play action to loosen up that defense so you can get to running the ball with Derrick Henry. And you got to run Derrick Henry. You got to run the running back they're afraid of. If you don't, you can't be worried about limiting his carries because you need him for the rest of the year. The rest of the year is now. Let's just be real about it. The rest of the year is now.
Definitely.
So the bottom line is you got to run Derrick Henry, but you also got to run play action, and you got to start running some boots to get Tannehill out the pocket. You got to start running some bootlegs to get him out the pocket because right now you got him as a sitting duck, and your offensive line can't hold up. Sambraio can't hold up in pass protection. If Saffold is not playing, then whoever you're going to have at left guard cannot hold up in pass protection. So you need to run them out. And if you're going to roll them out, you got to have Derrick Henry in the game. Bottom line. So if they don't do that, and you got to go find you a field goal kicker, you got to find one. I'm sorry. Gutowski, put it like this. You put it like this. The sad thing for the Titans, every field goal kicker they had in here last year is playing for other teams and are doing a good job.
They are. You're exactly right.
They're better than who we got right now. So the bottom line is, Carlos Santos, who missed 4 field goals against Buffalo, you cut him last year. You flat out cut him. Your field goal kicker you signed this year is what? Only made 8 field goals under 50 yards, and made 6 out of 7 over 50 yards.
Right. He's so like 8 for 17 under 40 or whatever, under 50.
Yeah, under 50. So, and you're giving him chance after chance, and it ain't working. And I guarantee you, and it's got to be something to do with and maybe it's just something to do with the way they're coaching the special team on field goal, because it doesn't make sense that these field goal kickers we had last year who didn't do a good job are with these other teams and they're lights out. And we bring in a kicker who we think is going to do a good job, and he's not lights out. He's not even halfway there.
He's not.
So let's just be honest about it. You have got to make changes this week coming up. Maybe it's the rookie you signed as a rookie free agent. You bring him in and have him start kicking. But you're going to have to do something. You have to change some things. And it may start with changing the fact that your head coach needs to stay out of the defensive playroom and let his defensive coaches call the plays.
And that might need to happen. Get him out. he needs to just focus on managing the football team and not, worried
Managing the
about
game.
either side of the game.
We said it before the season even started.
Right.
That trying to call a defense and be a head coach at the same time does not work. It ain't the same as it is on offense. It just ain't the same.
Right.
Defensively, you can't do it unless you Bill Belichick. But Bill Belichick's been coaching defense for years. So he's got the experience, and he's coached Super Bowl winning defenses as a DC. Vrabel has never coached a top 10 defense as a DC. He hasn't even coached a top 20, a top 30.
So I don't know, Jabbar, why Craig has a job. Maybe he won't have one tomorrow, but he still has one right now.
Well, no, they're not going to get rid of him.
I know they're not, but I'm just saying.
Saying.
What are they saying? So Ed says, what are they saying about Fulton, Humphreys, and Jackson and Pruitt? That'll come out Wednesday, Ed, and we'll see what happens. If Fedora is going to play, if Fulton's going to play.
I don't know. Look, I will tell you this, and I'll be honest with you. They're hoping to get Adoree back because really Wednesday I was expecting them to put him on IR. I really was, and count this season as a loss. They put Dane Cruikshank on IR. He played one game and went back on IR. Right now, Vrabel has problems all across the board. Again, it comes down to the fact that, and I'll say it happened to him when he was a DC. For some reason, players just don't stay healthy when they play for him. Major players get hurt. And I'm just telling you right now, he can't make up for on defense side for what they lost. And people can criticize me all they want to, but I will say the bottom line is the free agent you signed that he didn't make your defense better. In fact, I would almost say he's making it worse. Now that's just my opinion. Again, like you said, Wednesday night, and I admitted it. I'm not a Clowney fan. I'm not a Clowney fan. Never have been.
Well, hopefully they'll get something going better for the Ravens coming up this weekend on Sunday. And so
I don't see it.
Thank you for joining us for that episode.
Honest, man, I don't see it.
Halftime adjustments. Yeah, there. Old Grumpy Grover, Grumpy G Witt over there.
No, man, I mean, come on now.
I know, but you gotta hope. You gotta hope they take a hard look at this and say this is not working and change something before the game.
You know what? They talked about this on Friday morning, man, on the radio, and they're exactly right. When you've been a Titan fan as long as we have, you've been waiting for this to happen.
Oh yeah,
you knew it was coming. You just knew. You just knew it was coming because it's happened time and time again. And put it like this: Dolphin fans felt the same way about Tannehill. They said Tannehill. I got a Dolphin fan that was my coworker. He said Tannehill will play good and get you right up to the brink, and then he'll fall off a cliff. And remember what we said last year about Tannehill. Enjoy it. There's a reason why Miami let him go. There's a reason.
Yep.
And I think Tannehill is a good quarterback overall. He's always played good against us when he played for Miami. And he played good against us for a year and a half. But like I said, the bottom line we run into right now is that our defense and special team is dragging down the offense. Bottom line.
Ruining a talented football team. Dion says he's 100% with you, bro. He's all in with you, man. He's right there. So, guys, thank you for the comments and the questions tonight for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. 8 on that G Witt. Join us next Sunday. Next Sunday, we look at the Ravens versus the Titans, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. If it's gonna be the same old vanilla defense.
We'll be either 7-3 or 6-4.
Don't place no bets on that.
Don't place no bets. Just stand by and watch the game and watch what happens.
Guys, Thank you for joining us, man. Join us next Sunday night, 7 p.m. We get the Ravens versus the Titans, man. 8 on LG. We'll tighten up, man. We still here. Tighten up.
Peace.